Hey, what's up guys, Ramon here, Monstergadgets. I hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you might be. Thank you so much for joining me. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. For those of you that might not know, I do also have the Galaxy Note 8. That's where I'm coming from. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Note 20 Ultra as compared to the normal Note 20 and how things have changed quite a bit with Samsung. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Alright guys, welcome back. So let's first talk a little bit about the Note itself in general as a lineup from Samsung. So for many years, this has been kind of like the flagship phone. So if you have the Note, you basically have the best phone that Samsung makes, and that's what you carry around in your pocket in regards to just the functionality of it as well as the recognition that it carries along. It's just one of the best phones by Samsung, and that's what it is, that's what you bought, and that's what you expect out of it. Until this year. So this year, Samsung came out and released two different versions of it. You've got the normal Samsung Note 20, and then you've got the Samsung Note 20 Ultra. So the primary difference right off the bat is, of course, the display itself. You got a 6.9-inch display with the Ultra versus a 6.7-inch display with the normal Note. And then you got the battery differences as well. So the battery itself, it's got a 4,500 milliamp battery on the Note 20 Ultra compared to the 4,300 milliamp battery on the normal Note 20. Other primary difference between the two is, of course, the camera itself. Now, the front-facing camera actually doesn't have any different functionality. They both have a dual pixel autofocus. They both have a 10 megapixel selfie camera, and they both have a f2.2 aperture. All right, so if you're looking at the rear cameras, this is where it becomes a huge game changer between the normal Note 20 and the Note. That wasn't supposed to happen. Let me go ahead and post that back up here. Let's see if that actually stays on this time. That was quite funny. All right, so let's get back to it. If you're looking at the rear camera, again, they both have a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. The wide angle camera is where it's going to be a huge difference. You've got a 108 megapixel camera on the Note 20 Ultra compared to the 12 megapixel camera on the normal Note 20. You still have the 1.8 aperture, and you've got everything else that's basically the same. But the flip side of that is on the third camera, on the Note 20, you have a 12 megapixel telephoto camera compared to the 64 telephoto camera on the Note 20. So you're kind of giving up one thing over the other. Another thing to note is on the telephoto camera, you've got a 3.0 aperture on the Ultra 20 versus the 2.0 on the normal Note 20 itself. So that's what makes up the outside camera itself. Now, as far as the zoom functionality goes, on the Note 20 Ultra, you've got a 5x optical zoom compared to the 3x hybrid optic zoom on the Note 20. And then you've got a 50x zoom on the Ultra 20 compared to the 30x zoom on the normal Note. They both have optical image stabilization, which works really well, and then of course they have the normal tracking autofocus on both of the cameras on both of the units. So that's really nice. When it comes to video capture, they both capture video in 8K at 24 frames per second, 4K ultra high definition at 60 frames per second, 1080p full high definition video recording at 120 or 160 frames per second, and then you have 720 at 30 frames per second. All right, going back to the display, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, you have a 6.9-inch display on the Ultra versus a 6.7-inch display on the normal one. And you also have a 496 ppi on the Ultra compared to the 393 ppi on the normal. Now, the other added benefit on the display for the Ultra is that it does have a 120 hertz refresh rate. For those of you that might be gamers, that will certainly come in handy. All right, so those are kind of the spec difference between the two. Myself personally, here's kind of what I think about the Note 20 coming from the Note 8 itself. First thing I noticed off the bat is the S Pen is actually situated on the left-hand side compared to the right-hand side on the Note 8. So if you take a look at the Note 8, as you guys can see, the S Pen is a bit opposite. Now, for someone who's had this phone for a couple of years, trying to adjust to the S Pen on the left-hand side, it's been a bit of an adjustment because I'm so used to holding the phone on the left-hand side. Because I'm right-handed, being able to just push in on the right-hand side and get the S Pen out. Now I kind of have to train my mind to push it on the left-hand side to get the S Pen out, which Again, I'm still not fully used to, but it's something that I think with practice I will be able to learn and adapt to it. But I did like having that pen on the outside on the Note 8 compared to the Note 20. Besides that, the fingerprint scanner is another thing that I'm getting used to. Coming from the Note 8, you did have the fingerprint scanner on the back. Compared to the Note 20 and the Note 20 Ultra, you've got the fingerprint scanner behind the screen to unlock it. So that's another thing that I'm getting used to myself. But besides that, I do absolutely love the phone. It is super fast. The battery on it is really nice. The one other thing that I will say that I don't like is the camera bump. And so you guys can see here, this camera bump is absolutely enormous. Like this thing, when you sit it flat on the table, it props up quite a bit. It's not at all leveled, so when you're tapping on it, it does kind of give, and it's not at all balanced by any means. So what I have is a case on it, which of course I'll leave a link down below. You guys can go check that out. And this does make it basically flat. So it makes the phone itself a little bit thicker because of the camera bump itself. But the back of it does become flat, and it compensates for that, which is really nice. Besides the case, I don't ever see myself using the actual Note outside of it, for the reason that if I put it flat, it's not going to be flat itself. And for me, it's just very bothersome when I go to pick it up. It's just not steady and it's just gonna move. But having it in a case, it's not a problem. It fixes that to where it, again, offsets it and makes it very well balanced and protected as well. So if you are looking for a case, again, I'll go ahead and link it below. You guys can go check it out. It's on Amazon for about 15 bucks when I bought it. So link in the description below. Those are the things that I like about the Note 20 compared to the Note 8 coming from that, versus the things I don't like. I'm going to be using it quite a bit. So if you aren't following me on Twitter, or if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do that so I can go ahead and update you guys on my experience there as well. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.